Yeah, he's amazing.
Okay, good morning. We're coming to you live from Breathitt County High School and Miss Donna Combs' classroom. We appreciate her allowing us to be here. We have Breathitt County students that are engaged in our art workshop, and then we have Christopher Epling who will take us through this next session, session 5 of our book publishing workshop, and we look forward to hearing from you all and seeing your great work. So without further ado, Mr. Christopher Epling.
Thank you, Kelly. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, good. Thank you. We are, yes, at Breathitt County High School. I've spent quite a bit of time here, actually, working with Ted Hudson and a couple more students that I've met. Andrew, who's here in the class today in the workshop. So it's good to be back. I love Breathitt County High School. It's a great school. Donna Combs, she's always been very supportive, and so it means a lot. That's important. So today is focusing on week 5, and my back will be turned to you all a little bit, and I apologize for that. The students who's going to be watching this video will be participating along with you. So if my back's to you some while I'm talking to the camera, I apologize that ahead of time, okay, for that. Before the start of each workshop, I think it's important that we recap. That way we are all on the same page of where we should be and where we should be going. Okay? Those are two very important things in this workshop. However, your progress, your individual progress, and as a class and as a school really varies. And what I mean by that is some students may already have pages started on their actual book at this point. And what I mean is they've flown with it. They had a story from the very beginning. They may have already had a story in mind, and so they're building on that story. There's a lot of different possibilities. But the main focus, though, is that you are making progress, that you are at least up to par to where we want to be for this week, okay? And where we are, or where we should be for this week, means that you should have started by now, excuse me, you should have started by now penciling your pages, okay? That means you should have started with the artwork. You already have a lot of things already together that we've already discussed, like your storyboard, of course your story. I mean, if you don't have your story written by now, hurry up, that's all I could say, because we're past the halfway point. And if you haven't started with your story, you're in big trouble. Not big trouble, but yeah, I'd hurry up and get caught up. Another thing I want to address is that we're focusing on a huge age range. Okay, we're talking 4th grade to 12th grade. All right, 4th grade math is a lot different than 12th grade math. Just like 4th grade writing is a lot different than 12th grade writing, right? It's going to be different. For that reason, the teacher's role in this workshop is absolutely just the most important role, not mine. Because, see, I'm not in your class. I don't know exactly what the needs of the students are on an individual level unless you notify me, if you email me or contact me. But you as the teacher do. You know if a student is excelling or if a student is dropping off. If a student is keeping up with the progress of where we need to be, or if they're falling behind. You also understand, perhaps if a student, if we have these different concepts we're sharing, okay, such as plot, rise of action, conflict, resolution, right? Those ideas, okay, those language, art, writing ideas, those creative writing and story building fundamentals are different for every single age and grade. Okay, so when I talk about the antagonist, okay, the 12th grade, they know what that is. So you as the teacher, when you hear me say antagonist and you're looking around your 4th grade classroom and everyone's looking at each other like, what in the world? It's your role to tell them, okay, we're talking about the bad guy of your story. So you got a hero and a bad guy in every story almost. Sometimes, instead of having a bad guy, you have a bad situation. That could be the antagonist. For instance, I'll give you an example. You could look at in a story that a natural disaster that everyone has to overcome. That could be the antagonist. Okay, that's what the element of the story that provides the conflict, usually, okay? So you may have to explain that to them, right? So I need your help in that, and it's real important. So welcome. We are in week 6. This is part 2 of penciling your page. I did post a video. Have you all checked out the video? Did you see it? The one I made with.
did.
Yeah, you did. Okay. Well, I'm creating these at home, and it's a work in progress where I'm creating tutorials outside of this workshop for students. And my cat got in the video, so I won't say that my cat won't get into future videos. So that was kind of that sort of happened last video. But please check out the videos. The videos are there to help you. We talked about some basic drawing concepts in that video, and if you're wondering where are these videos, really easy to find the videos. It's simple. Go to theholler.org. Okay? O-R-G. Not theholler.net, not theholler.com, not theholler.gov. It's theholler.org. O-R-G. Okay? If you go to theholler.org, you have to log in. You have to register. Once you register, you never have to worry about registering again. You have a username and password. Everyone should have done this. Okay? But I like to recap and tell you again, these videos are on theholler.org. Once you go there, you log in. At the top of the screen, you should either see the art workshop, okay, and this picture of the octopus, the kraken, or you should see, if you don't see that pop up, there are little circles, little bubbles, and there's tons of them because there's different hollers, right? There's an ARI holler, there's a foreign language holler for some, I think it's Latin or not Latin, I forget. But anyway, the art workshop is what you want to look for. If you don't see it in a bubble, in a circle, you click on hollers at the top, okay, and then that takes you to a list of all the different locations there on the holler.org, and you have to look or search for the art workshop. When you click on that, it takes you to a whole page, okay? A lot of us are familiar with Facebook, right, and how Facebook works. So I'm going to use Facebook terms, although the holler.org is way cooler than Facebook in my opinion. But, you know, you log in, and there's different. When you click on a holler, you come to a whole new area. That's like the page, the holler's page. And on the page, you have different tabs at the top. And some say documents, some say home, some say forum. A tab that says that. When you click on home, you get to see all of the postings that's taken place. So for instance, if you missed a week that we record these sessions, they're available for you right after we record every Monday. The tutorials from here on out, they'll be available for you either late, Monday evening or at the latest early Tuesday morning. So you have everything you need to create your work. Okay? Now today is week 6. Last week, all right, for week 5, we started getting into looking at applying your story to a page. So taking the written words you have on a page and starting to put those onto paper. How do we do that? How do we think about that? Writing your story is one entirely separate aspect of this workshop. It's got a heavy language art focus. You need to follow all the parameters that's been given to you in your grade level on proper story construction, story building, the parts of a story, and then of course your grammar, punctuation, spelling. All of this stuff must be in par and up and good to go by this point. So you should have your story completed, okay? And as we move forward now, penciling your page, you have to start thinking about how do we take this written work and put it onto a page. And I gave you some ingredients to work with, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, I want to share with you, sort of recapping last week a little bit more. Every single book, when you look at a book, there's certain parts to a book. It doesn't really matter what type of book it is even. It could be a classroom textbook, it could be a cookbook, or it could be a children's book. Books have a certain way they are designed, and they're designed this way for a reason, okay? I asked you last week to start thinking about putting together the cover for your book. This is very important. We talked about the aspects of a cover, a proper cover. What does a book cover look like? I have an example. Actually, I have two here. And this is absolutely the most probably the best example of what could come from this workshop happened right here in Breathitt County. Donna Combs, as well as, now for Shorty's his nickname, and then also your, what's his name, Donna? Mr. Sizemore, Wayne Sizemore. Oh, sorry, Wayne Sizemore. They saw that a student that he's graduated now, named Ted Hudson, had created and written a story and illustrated these drawings to go with it. And it was based on the biblical story of Noah. And if you know anything about the Bible, or you know anything about who Noah was, you know Noah built the ark. You know Noah is famous for having so many days to put this ark together, and so many years, I mean. And then also on top of that, he is known for having to get all the animals gathered up, two of a kind, into the ark. And so Ted wrote an adaptation, as we'll call it. That just means his version, but following the story exactly of Noah, okay? And he's went on to write a new book, which I'm really proud of him for this, but this was the first one, and this is what I want to focus on for this example for now, okay? If you look at Ted's book, he has a cover. This is Ted's book. It's a hardbound book. Ted went on to win the National Yes I Can Award for this book. It's an amazing accomplishment. It's something we all should be proud of. It's something that should give you hope. You shouldn't look at this in terms of, oh, wow, how in the world does someone do that? Well, we're telling you how. Actually, we're encouraging you to do it. In fact, we're going as far as to say, if you do a good job, we'll make sure you can do it, okay? Maybe not make sure you win a national award, but you can, okay? Ted didn't start out wanting to win an award. He wanted to share a story. That's all it was. So when he created his book, I asked Ted, you have to have a cover for your book. And I came into the school and I worked with Ted, and we got all of his pages together and his story together. And this is, when you think about your book, the first thing you want that people look at is the cover. So on Ted's cover, you see he has Noah, all right? He's standing at the tip or the edge of the ark. He's holding out a dove. The dove in its mouth has an olive branch. And then he's standing, and you can see blue skies with clouds, right? If you know anything about the story of Noah, just looking at this image takes you to a specific point in that story. It takes you to the point after the ark is built, after the tragedy of the floods rise and the water comes and everything washes away, and Noah and his family have been inside this ark for 40 days and 40 nights, and they finally see daylight come, and the dove brings back a branch showing that there's land, right? When I look at this cover, I'm taken to that specific point. Everything that happened before that I know about, and then also what's to come I know about. But this one point I'm taken to. This is excellent. This is a great example of a proper cover for your book. You have a main character that's shown in the book. You have a situation from the story shown on the cover of the book. You have the title of the book that's very easily seen. It's in, you know, when you're designing your cover, make sure that your title is there. Okay, at the bottom you see written and illustrated by Ted Hudson. You can't see that maybe from the camera, but that's what it says. So on your cover, you need your name. If you're working in pairs, let's say one person's illustrating, another person has written the story, then that needs to be on here. And it gets written and illustrated by, for the purpose of this, I made up a name, Jim Douglas. Okay, so if Jim was the author and someone else was the illustrator, both names would be on the cover of the book, right? Okay, think about your lettering, all right? Last week we started talking, and this is a little early, so if you look at, teachers, if you look at the outline for this workshop, you're going to see that this is a little early to start talking about this. But we want to talk about putting the words on your page, right? How do you put your words on your page? And I've written a story, I've drawn the pictures, now where do the words go and how do they get there? Well, how you do that is two options that we talked about, okay? And I asked everybody to take notes on this, so later on you remember two options. I said you can either write or draw or put the words on there by hand, okay? Or you can get onto a word processor, get onto a computer, use either what you're familiar with, Microsoft Word or Macintosh's Pages, Apple's Pages, and you create a Word document and you print it. Okay, you print this, and you can make your font size, I don't know, 58, so it's really big and bold. And then you glue that on there. Now, those are your two options. right? You have to think about it when you're gluing words to a page, because when you print out the paper, the words are usually formatted in a way that they're shaped in a way, so they may be in a paragraph form, one word on top of the other. Play around with that. Also, you got to think about for your cover, if you're printing the words out to glue onto your paper, you have the white of the paper, so you're going to have to cut out, maybe color in a little bit around those edges. Make it look better than you just cut out something and glued it to it. Okay? Make it look nice. Make it look like something you'd want to go pick up and look at. Okay? All right, so think about your lettering. How are you going to put this onto your pages, okay? And as I said with Ted's book as an example, I have a bug here, all right? The title of this book is The Bug Without a Home. I made that up, all right? So this is the title. It's written in interesting font, okay, in letters. And then you have a bug here, who we can assume is the bug who doesn't have a home anymore, right? Having never read the story, okay? Usually then, as we go forward in the pages of a book, all right, I'm going to drink real fast. Excuse me. Usually as we move forward into a book then, the next page typically is your copyright page. And this is over here for Ted's book, all right? So when we think about what is a copyright page, all right, that's that page in every book that has all the little tiny the little letters and saying all the jargon, like, for instance, Ted says, entire contents copyright 2015 by Ted Austin Hudson. Then it goes on to list his website, tedhudson.net. Printed in the United States by Bookmasters Incorporated, and it gives their address. So this is the book's actual information, okay? This is where your ISBN number will be listed. An ISBN number, and every book has one. Every published book has one. And your book will have one as well if you get selected. The ISBN number is registered in the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. Okay? After your book is printed, one copy of your book has, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to use the word printed, published. Big difference in printing a book and publishing a book. Okay? But after your book is published, a copy is sent to the Library of Congress. That's on record forever, okay, until the time when, until the end of time, okay? So that book is listed on record in the Library of Congress, okay? This information is all in the front of the book. Now, you don't really have to worry too much about this page of your book, all right? But I wanted you to be aware of it, all right? Typically then we have what's called an interior title page. Now what is an interior title page? Well, for Ted's book, I can open it up and show you. Now there's additional information that can be included in front of a book. But I want you to include an interior title page. See over here? It just lists the title of the book again, and it has underneath it Ted's name. Okay? That's an interior title page. All right, that just helps with the flow of the book. So you have a cover, you have your copyright information, which if you're published, we'll add that. And then I want you to create an interior title page. Now there's something to think about with this. When you're creating your interior title page, make sure that whatever your cover looks like, the title of your book, I'll go back to the cover again. However you either wrote the title the first time, A Bug Without a Home, okay, or if you selected a certain font, okay, if you're typing this out, make sure that however the title is written on the cover matches the interior title page, how it's written on the interior title page, okay? Now this is all stuff that you need to think about. All right. Of course, the main focus is your story and those illustrations. All right. But this is stuff you really need to think about. Okay. All right. Let's move on now, and let's actually get into this week's lesson a little bit. All right. I won't call it a lesson because we'll hopefully have fun here. But this week's workshop. All right. So we're in week 6. Okay. Now down here at the bottom, I drew a little pot on a stove, and it's boiling over. Remember, I talked about your ingredients. Well, I want to talk about those again. In order for you to sit down and start creating a page of a book, okay, you need to have with you your storyboard that you should have created. That storyboard is little boxes showing what's going to appear on every page. And you should also know what words are going to appear on every page. And then also you need to think about how you're going to apply those words. Are you hand lettering, as we call it, drawing the words onto the page, or are you printing the words to be pasted onto the page? You also need to think about, and even with all of this going on, I know it's a lot, but you should know what your characters look like. You should draw every character out, know what they look like before you ever started creating your page. All right, so using my storyboard, I may have this little bug on this page, right? This is the bug without a home, all right? And I'm looking at my storyboard. Here's my storyboard, pretend with me. And I'm looking off of it, and I'm drawing this little bug, and he's sitting here on the ground. He has a really sad or excited, shocked look on his face, right? And he's sitting here, and there's the ground underneath him, so I have my setting, so the setting of your story. And then I know what's going to appear on this page, and I'm going to hand letter my book today here with you, okay? So I'm going to put over here, one day while Bill, and Bill is the name of our bug, Bill the bug was sitting by the stream near his home, comma. Now you can do this. You can write out a sentence ending with a comma, and that sentence could pick up on the next page even. Think about it. Just look at any children's book, how the story is written out. So on this page I have, one day while Bill the bug was sitting by the stream near his home. Now that's the sentence, okay? Using my storyboard, I know exactly what was going to appear on this page before I started. Then I'm going to move on to my next page using my storyboard, okay? Now I've already drawn this page out for you, but I'm going to grab another marker so you can see it a little better. I'm continuing with the story now, okay? So on this previous page, I had a sentence ending with a comma. And now I have the rest of that sentence picked up. So we have a full sentence broken into two parts, okay? And the rest of that sentence reads, he noticed the water as it started to rise, okay? There we go. That's the entire sentence. Now he's looking down at the water here, okay? He's looking really shocked. Now we know by the title of the book, right? Something's happened to this little bug's home, all right? Because it says the name of the book is The Bug Without a Home, all right? And I completely made this up. This was just something I come up with. And you can show the water here by his feet, okay? That could be the entire page. He's looking down at the water, okay? It's coming up. Now, we're going to talk further along about your choices for adding color, right? That's really important for your book, and we'll take a second to discuss that right now. For a picture book or a storybook, okay, that's where you have your illustrations are filled the entire page, your drawing, with the words on it somewhere. You have options available to you. You have colored pencils, crayons, watercolor, okay? Some schools may have paint. It doesn't matter how you color your story, all right? But however you choose to color your illustrations, remember, you have to think about where will the words appear on that page, okay? That's a really important factor when you're creating your page, all right? All right, let's move on now. You may decide, let's say, using your storyboard, that you want to use your illustrations along with the words. Now think about this. Use your drawing along with your words to really accentuate an important part of the story, to really highlight an important part of the story. And I'll show you right now an example with that. Okay? This is not the bug story. This is just some random illustration. But in this page of this book that we've just pretended to pick up and create, we have a character who is shocked about something. Okay? So here I've drawn a close-up of the character's face. Okay? Alright, I've got the close-up of this character's face, and they're looking really shocked. Right? See? Got their hair coming down, it's filling up almost the entire page here. So there's their character. right? They're looking very shocked about something. So just by looking at this picture, I'm like, well, something's going on. This character is excited, shocked, scared. Something's going on. So now I'm going to use my words on this page to go along with how this character is feeling. So if I'm hand lettering, right, I could write the sentence out, and here's what I want you to pay close attention to. Right here, on this particular example, or this particular page, this character is seeing something that they're scared of or shocked to see. Okay, and look how I've highlighted that using my words. We have a shocked look on a face, and at the bottom the sentence reads, "Then she saw it." It, the word "it," is in bold, right? It's larger in size than the other letters. Think about that. A lot of times in different picture books and storybooks and graphic novels, you see that the creator, okay, the illustrator, or sometimes when you get into publishing, there'll be a typeset person who does the lettering. But that person, for some reason, has chosen to make certain words larger, certain words in color, certain words smaller than the other words. And they do that for a specific reason. It's because that word, whatever it is highlighted to go along with the story. So here we have a page of a book. The character looks shocked or excited, and at the bottom of the book, of the page, we see the sentence, "Then she saw it." What is it? We don't know. It's just an example from a page, right? This gives suspense into the story. So if I'm reading this story, and let's say we've been building up all along up to this page of a mystery, right? Think of Scooby-Doo. And then all of a sudden there's a reveal, right? The ghost that's been haunting the castle, when you pull off the bed sheet, is the old man who owns the grocery store in town, right? The big reveal. So if I'm reading a book that has this coming in the story, I've read 12, 15, 20 pages of who is this mystery? What is this mystery? And then all of a sudden we're getting ready to find out what it is. Use the illustrations and the words to really help that in your story. Think about that. Think of it in this way. This will help you get published. Not everyone's going to get published in this workshop. But these elements that I'm sharing with you, I know it's a lot to take in. But if you've ever read a picture book, if you've ever read a storybook, if you've ever looked at a graphic novel, you know what you like. You know what's cool, and you know what works well, right? And that's what I want you to think about. Design your book. Design something you would want to read. Okay? Something you would want to look at. And if you do it that way, you'll be fine. Now, graphic novels, I want to talk about that for a second, because graphic novels can be one of the most enjoyable and the most challenging formats to work in with this project. And the reason for that is, in graphic novels, you have panels. You have a ton of these panels, and these boxes make up your page, okay? Last night, while watching the debate, I created pages for this workshop slide this morning, okay? And I thought about this as I was creating this page as an example. Graphic novels don't always, if you read one, if you've ever read one, they don't always follow formats where there's just boxes. Now, most do. It doesn't matter. It's your choice. But you may find on a certain page of a graphic novel, you have something like this, okay? Especially if you've read a traditional comic book. You have something like this to happen where you have your boxes, okay? So up here, these two boxes, it looks like this page is going to be a normal page. Then you come down to this part, and you see behind this box, okay, behind this one box here, is a city skyline. And this city skyline is not in a panel, right? It's part of just the page. You could put stars going all around the other panels up here. So we could tell by looking at this, you know, that this is probably a night sky, even though I don't have mine colored in, but you could. And here's the moon, right? So you can see behind all the panels, there's the setting. The reason I share this with you, if you're creating a graphic novel, just like I showed you the page before with the suspense building in a picture book, Think about how to use your page for your graphic novel to do interesting things like this too. You don't always have to stay inside the box, okay? But typically though, graphic novels and comic books do have those panel format, the box format. And we have to follow that to a large degree, okay? All right. Now I want to take a second, I know it's a lot, we're going through a lot, to retouch on what we did in tutorial last week, and that's using the circle method. Now this is drawing. And let me say before we go over this, if you're doing a chapter book, all these things that I've shared with you apply to your illustrations. But for the layout of your book, you're going to be typing those pages and printing those pages. And the best way for you to prepare a book that will be selected to be published if you're doing a chapter book is to go and get a chapter book and look at it. Look at how the chapter book is laid out. Look at how the chapter book includes illustrations, if it does, and follow that. But create your own, okay? So let's take a second now to look at these shapes. I have some basic shapes up here. Now, if you look really close, you're going to see a triangle here. There's two ovals. There's two circles. There's a circle here. This is actually an elongated triangle. See how that works? It would go all the way up to the tip. Here's another oval. There's ovals here. There's ovals there. There's 4 elongated triangles. And then there's 4 more circles. Is anyone in the room here, when you're looking at this, if you can see it bouncing off the screen at the bottom, can you tell me what this kind of looks like just by looking at it?
A giraffe.
It kind of looks like a giraffe, doesn't it? So when you look at this, I mean, it's not a giraffe, right? I mean, we can see that that's obviously not really a giraffe, but when we arrange these shapes together, it forms that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So let's draw out the shapes we've used. We have 2 circles that are up here at the top. We have 2 ovals, oval and an oval. That's the ears. We have a circle for the head. That's right here. We have a triangle for the face, right there. All right. We have this elongated triangle that can look something like this for the neck. Okay. Then we go to the circle or oval for the body. That's right here. Then we have 4 ovals that make up first part of the leg. Then we have 4 circles that make up the knees, right, down here. And then we have 4 elongated triangles that go down from the knees to the feet. And then we have 4 circles for the feet. This is the Marvel method. Okay? Basically, if you take any shapes and arrange them in certain positions, you can create an image of something. Okay? If you think of Minecraft is all rectangles and squares pretty much. But yet the artist, the graphic designer who put that game together, designed that game, okay? They designed it in a way that even though you're looking at squares, okay, the color of that square, the pixels, right, are arranged in a way you can see that's a person, that's Steve, right? But it's a box, it's a little square. If you zoom in really close to just the eye of Steve, and you've never seen Minecraft before, and I showed you a picture, you might be able to make out that kind of looks like an eye, but it probably would look like a blue, brown, tan box, white box maybe, okay? So this image that we see here turns into this guy. See? And this is the principle behind the Marvel method. This is the principle about what I've been trying to show students is that I want to help you think about drawing in a different way. I want you to think about it in terms of shapes. So when you're building your characters and you're drawing your sketches, right, you're thinking about it in terms of these basic shapes. So for instance, and this is where you'll be pressing down very lightly with your pencil. You're not going to be pressing down very hard. But you draw a circle that makes up the general idea for the head. I hope you can see that. This is a graphite pencil. There's the circle for the head. Okay. I may do an oval for the neck. Okay. I'll do another oval for the shoulders. See that oval? That's the shoulders. And then I have a couple circles over here for the shoulder joint. I have an oval for the upper part of the arm here. That's from your shoulder to your elbow. I have a circle for the elbows. You're putting together a mannequin, basically, right? This is a mannequin. Here I have a general shape of a head, neck, shoulders, okay? Upper arm, elbow, and forearm of a character. Then I might do what looks like a marshmallow. This rounded off oval for the trunk of the body. And then the waist, okay? So we can see this kind of looks like a mannequin now. So if you've drawn this on your page lightly with your pencil, you can start adding detail to it. And the idea is, when you start adding detail, and watch my videos, if you're completely lost right now on how to do this, be sure and watch my video, okay? That's on theholler.org. Because that's going to help you to understand how this is put together. Alright? So what I'm doing now is I'm drawing on top of my mannequin to create a person. See? I'm adding the details. And so when I go back in a little bit later with a pen, right, I'm going to trace over just the shapes that I want to keep. Only the shapes I want to keep. The lines I want to keep. Everything else I'm going to erase. I'm going to get rid of it. Okay? And I'm going to get rid of this later by erasing it. So all the lines that you see that's underneath this pen mark, the pencil marks, are going to be erased. Okay? So I'm just tracing over top of my circles now, over top of the shapes that I've created to form the character. That's the idea. So if you use that when you're creating your pages, you're going to be very successful. All right? So let's take a look real fast. I'll show you Ted's new book that he wrote. This is Princess Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Right? Ted created a company to go along with his book. So all of his books have this logo on the back. And you can see a circle. And I'll hold it up pretty close. You see that circle there? It's on that one. And it's on that one. That circle is a logo. So if you see a Nike logo, or let's say you see an Under Armour logo, everything that Ted creates that's published has this logo on it. That's his company. So when he sells his books, right, he's selling these books under a company name. And that's the main goal for the 6 students who are going to apply to go on. We're going to work with you to create your company, to create your own books, right? So that's the goal. So that's why I want you to take this very serious. Ted's done an amazing job, but Ted could not have done what he's done without the support of his school. So the teachers and schools that are watching this, be involved, okay? Not because we want to win national awards or have our school recognized, but students participating in this can actually go on to have a small business. We have to start thinking about things differently in our region and our world. We start thinking about the economy differently. There's certain markets, and what a market is basically where you sell stuff, right? The internet's a massive market. So we have to start thinking about, well, what about students? How could they get involved creating stuff like this, to be involved like that, to be small business owners? And this is an amazing, profitable way to do it, if done right, okay? And we're going to help those 6 who are really eager, motivated, and want this to go on to do just that. Next week, all right, we're talking about going into working with putting your words on your page even more in depth now. We really need to get to the point where you're illustrating your pages and putting words on those pages, okay? But we also want to think about your logo. If you go on to become published, you have to have a logo. You have to have something that says, Ted's is Hudson Theater Production. That's the name of his company. So everything that comes out under Hudson Theater Productions. Your logo could maybe have, you could have a pair. I don't know, anything you want. It identifies you. It's your logo. It doesn't have to have anything to do with your story. It's your logo. So we're going to talk about that next week. We're also going to be talking about something that's really important. If you want to go on to become a published author, you need to think about, how do you describe your book to the world? Okay? So if I come up to you and I ask you, hey, I see this awesome book at this book signing. You're sitting at a table and you're signing copies of these books. And I walk up to you and I say, hey, what's your book about? You should be able to tell me like that. You shouldn't have any problems describing your story. So that's what we call a synopsis. Okay? We're also going to be talking about how to submit your pages. We're going to be talking about that a little bit early. We're still going into the latter parts of this workshop, but we had a little bit of some miscommunication. That's my fault last workshop on how to submit your pages. So real important. Next time we'll talk about that a little bit as well. Go on to theholler.org, like I've said before. Join it if you haven't already. You should have by now. And look at these tutorials. One will go up today, later on this evening. At the latest, it'll be available for you first thing tomorrow morning, okay? So good luck on creating your book. Good luck on your progress. I look forward to seeing what students create and share, okay? Kelly, you want to close this out for me? Is that okay? All right. Well, I want to say thank you so much. Breathitt County High School, thank you all, okay? You all did a great job, very well behaved. I'm sorry I had my back turned to you all this entire time. But now Breathitt has already, you have one student published under their book, under their belt. So I really anticipate some good stuff coming from your school, okay? All right. Thank you all so much. Kelly?
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Thank
See
you
you
all.
next week from Pikeville High School.
Bible High School. Thank you.